Back with the Vintage Masters drafts. This is the same deck that got drafted at the end of my previous Magic video. 4-color Recurring Kavus Recurring Nightmare. You know, the old classic archetype. And we're going to try to put some fatties into play from the graveyard. And kill creatures with 4 toughness. I've got about 2 hours 20 minutes for this stream. That'll be probably 2 or 3 matches. Maybe we can draft the next deck. Okay. Well, with Mono Prism, we've got all 4 colors. I think I am going to keep this hand. Kavu is nice. We can cycle Cave. Can potentially cycle Aberration if we need to. Opponent mulliganed. And Island is interesting. Oh, Mongrel. So we just play the Barons here. Next turn, Monoprism. And then we can either Mongrel or Kavu, maybe Aberration, yada yada. Storm colors from our opponent. That means potentially just playing Mongrel next turn to put some pressure on. We can Kavu on 4 either way. Yeah. This dies to Chainer's Edict, but it's not like we have any small guys to feed edicts. Weird timing on Brainstorm. If they don't have a shuffle effect, they might as well just cantrip it. Wild Mongrel notably is not killed by Expunge. Oh, what a juicy Kavu target. If we draw land and next turn, we can Prism plus Grunts. An untapped land, specifically. There's an untapped land. Let's go to combat first. No choking tethers from the opponent. They could expunge the Kavu. Alright, just deal 6. Oh, wow. I did not tap that correctly. sort of forgot that we were playing a 3-drop afterward. Total brain fart. Oh. I think this is actually the pile. They're short on islands, and I just, don't care too much if they get a pair of fishers. Yeah, so they took the 3 islands, which I think is better than island plus fishers, though not guaranteed. Alright, so I wouldn't have cast Grunt anyway, because I wouldn't pay Echo on Grunt here. So we could attack if they don't block. We don't have lethal if we discard our hand. Let's begin by cycling this, and then probably Kavu their sorcerer. Oh, well, we could play Hermit. Don't want to let them draw 2 potentially with sorcerer. I'll attack first. If they chump, I'll Hermit, and if not, Kavu. So we're at 19, means they would need to tendrils for the full 10. They would only need to brain freeze for 9. But they can't really do that anymore. Don't have a familiar in play, just tapped an island without High Tide. They would need one of the Storm rares to win. Like Yawgmoth's Will might do it. You're not a Yawgmoth's Will. If they cast a second tendrils, we go to 1. Nah, just a desperation life gain. So we are threatening to discard our entire hand, lethal them, though I don't think I will. Well, certainly won't now. Just gonna pass with grunts up. In case I have some kind of mass board wipe effect, it'll be decent to keep pressure on. There's some consideration to playing Swamp, but I think I preferred keeping it in hand for Mongrel. Okay, so if the opponent is on Storm, Addle is a good pick for sure. I think pretty much just Addle is what we're interested in. Giant Mantis seems quite underwhelming. Predatory Night Stalker, Acer Mutation, Death Reap Patrol are also worse against Storm, but as we saw, they aren't a hyper-focused, all-instant sorcery Storm deck. Yeah, usually, this being limited, you still have a few creatures floating around for us to kill. And killing Nightscape Familiars is super important. Yeah, so I think we just cut the 2/4 for 4 for a discard effect, and that'll be the extent of that. So this hand's big issue, obviously, is missing green. We are on the draw. I think I will keep this hand, but it's definitely shippable. Oh, hello. There's an interesting choice, actually, of which land to lead with. I think I'll lead with Barrenmoor. We might want to play Familiar or Animate Dead on 2. We are not going to want to play Regrowth on 2. But in this case, I believe we just play the second tap land on 2. Sorcerer, okay. So they're not going to attack into that and let us kill it with grunts for free. I think we just get Mana Prism down. Whoa. So the draw 4, lose 10. That's spicy. We aren't applying that much pressure. We could very well get stormed out this game. Discard Temporal Fissure. Alright. Get an untapped land, we can Familiar plus Kavu. We did. Animate Dead Scrivener doesn't do anything right now. Yeah, Invasion block, go. This is reducing the cost of our mutation, which means we do have enough to play it, even filtering with Prism. Not that I necessarily expect to get a spectacular ace mutation target. Oh, but we did. A really nice one. And if they replay it, we can Night Stalker it. It's possible that we should have just Night Stalkered that turn. But I think having a Scourge Familiar and letting your opponent untap with it is very scary. Having a Scourge Familiar in your opponent's hand is not that scary. They need to discard 6 cards to it before playing it as mono positive. One, two, three. If they have 2 tendrils, I think they've got us. They can familiar, discard, discard, tendrils is 22 drain. Which is a line that wouldn't be available if I just killed it. Ooh. I do not think they're winning here. This is right? They can take 3 islands, gives them the most familiar fuel, but then they have no draw. If they have an island in hand, they can take Brainstorm plus Frantic Search, but they have to play the island, and it's not even that great. Took the 3 islands, played 1. So their hand is island, island, unknown, unknown. And they are pretty far away still from a Tendrils or Brain Freeze kill. Or even from really getting us with Fissure, considering their life total and our Saplings. Okay, Fissure it up. Do they have any good creatures in the graveyard now? Not really. What? Bouncing land, 4 Saplings. Did I see that right? Well, their plan here is to trade for FTK and go to 3. I'm planning to animate dead their Scourge Familiar post-combat. And use that plus Monoprism to hold up Simeon Grunts. Just in case, you know, Upheaval gets top decked or something. We'll play that one out. If they top deck Yawgmoth's Will, they'll win. Otherwise, I think we've got him. Yeah, they could will, writ, cruel bargain, factor fiction, frantic search, you know. Well, that would do it. Visara. Okay. So right now, Visara threatens to block the familiar. They go to 1 and live. I think Predatory Night Stalker is just the best way to deal with that. Not casting anything, end of turn. There are a lot of 2-for-1 removal type creatures in this deck. It's pretty sweet. Only 8 undefeated trophies for the top of the leaderboard right now. That's not even 3 a day. That's 2 a day. Alright, so we've got Elder on 3, Kavu on 4. We can play this in either mode, easy keep. Okay. We need the Elder to die to play this in cycling mode, to be clear. The opponent mulliganed, but got a pretty aggressive draw, nonetheless. I'm pretty confident in our ability to provide defensive disruption, though. Especially if they're stuck on 1 color and 2 lands. Technically, I should have played Forest turn 2. Then I could have played second Forest here, Mountain next turn, we'd be up 1 life. We can Solar Blast the Deathblade Elite, so I'm planning to just Kavu the Chopper. What? Why would you tap and then use Provoke? What? I think we just attack here. Should be pretty free. They could Battle Screech now. But actually Sea Drake is capable of blocking. Battle Screech type stuff. Ah, you're no Battle Screech, sir. We could play Sea Drake this turn, plus sacrifice Elder. For Blast. Next turn. I think that is going to be our play here. Also, if we play Sea Drake, we're discarding a lot of cards. Huh. Playing Secluded Step there instead of cycling is very interesting. The white 5-drop that comes to my mind is Radiant Archangel. Oh, that also lets us double red. And play Worm the turn after. Seems a little superior. Don't want to attack. Kavus on defense. The pass was both blast modes up. Outpost. Okay. Well, we're going to cycle this guy. Pew. Yes, we would. Draw a card. Right. I think we get in with Kavu now. Alright, happy to trade. And we'll just get Worm down and cycle more. Probably better to cycle the more first, I suppose. Huh? Mantis can't hold off the Threshold Mystic, though what? We're only 3 cards away from Threshold. We're also only 3 cards away from Threshold. At which point Putrid Imp no longer blocks, but can start to race in a somewhat relevant manner. I just noticed that Sea Drake has good synergy with cycling lands. Not one that's coming up this game, because we didn't play down any cycling lands. Cycle. Planning to play Drake plus Mantis this turn. Edict doesn't seem terribly relevant. Now, it's really possible that they would have exile. Getting our worm exiled would be really bad. Just gonna play this down and then play down Elder with sack up. Though it does brick wall the Sea Drake. Once it has threshold. But for now, we can attack with Drake and have Worm back on defense. Screech. Between Drake and Mantis, we're actually set up decently against Screech. Radiant, 4/4. This means Worm can come in though, since they clearly do not have exile up right now. Yes. Swamp Forest. Nightscape. Okay. Animate Dead. So we could animate the Kavu. I'm kind of hoping they'll trade for a Penumbra Worm here. So I think first things first, attack. We can also animate dead Yavimaya Elder and just sack it again to dig for a Nightmare, but I don't think that's necessary. Just get rid of one of the soldier tokens. This Edict's never doing anything better. And play down a Mantis and pass. So this is easily representing 2 flying damage next turn. The 2 Elders means we have an excess of discard fodder for it. In retrospect, probably should have FDK'd Radiant, played Chainer main phase, discarded enough cards to imp to give it flying, and got in for 2 extra on last turn. Oh, sweet. We'll come in with everything except FTK. Let's say they exile Worm, activate Outpost. Just eat that, trump, yeah. No reason for FTK to come in. Sort of like exile, except much better for us. Alright. it turns on threshold for them. Trump. Well, we kind of got, but luckily we still have this hermit here. With clearly a possibility they had 2 instants, but thought it wasn't terribly likely. Okay. 4-color Kavu pile is getting there so far. I think Death's Head Buzzard comes in this matchup. Can kill Deathblade Elite. Good against Battle Screech that we didn't see any of. Kill Jordan Outpost. Can just trade for stuff decently. I'm not sure about Regrowth. It's kind of a slower late game toolbox value card. I think Grunt is good. I want to bring in a second Mantis. And I think I'll cut this because I have so many 1/1s. Also possible we should cut Putrid Imp, but it's one of our only 2 ways to fuel like a really early game disgusting reanimation. Can also trade for stuff. Trying it like this for now. Oh. The only thing we have to reanimate right now is Cougar. So this hand looks like turn 1 more, turn 2 Forest Cycle Cougar, turn 3 animate it. I think it's a keep. Oh, alright. That works very nicely with the plan. Maybe we'll have time to fit a Death Reap in before Kavu, but I'm not counting on it. The Death Reap is a potential sideboard card. Like, card to sideboard out against aggro, that is. Oh, I was just about to say, I think the -1, -0 on Animate Dead is actually a positive here. It means that Cougar will dodge Radiant's Judgment if they have a second copy. Oh yeah, we've got Taiga. I felt like we had a second fetchable red source. It's just not basic. Okay, that's funny. Doink, doink. Wham. So as long as we don't get screeched, we are set up pretty well to race here. Even if we do get screeched, in principle, we cannot race them, but it's much harder. Okay. Whoa, for real? That is awesome for us. I mean, this just lets us kill him really fast, right? Pretty much, that's what's up. Unless he goes 1-drop plus Screech next turn, and then we die. Yeah, so next turn we have Elder plus Imp, and they'll have +5/+0 on our turn after next. Outpost, not floating a mana. I think that means there's almost no way for them to get there. They're not playing creatures. Presumably they're holding 1 or 2 removal spells. Whoa. That was a sweet draw. I don't think we are playing Sea Drake here, but I will just play Island before combat. Sure. That's a 4/1 on defense, so it can trade here, but I'll just let it trade. Swords? Alright. I guess the Outpost plus the Crescendo is pretty cute. Let's see. We can actually Drake plus Imp, and then threaten to kill them next turn by discarding our whole hand to get threshold for Xaxes. This only works because Drake bounces lands. This means we can't mutation next turn, but we can Elder. If they've got mana up, I don't think I'm going to go for it. Alright. Alright, got him. Yeah, Crescendo of War leads to someone dying really fast, but a very reasonable percentage of the time it is not the person who cast it. Geez. We're on the draw. This hand can play a turn 4 ritual, nothing else. But it's got some clear power in the late game against slower decks. In the dark, I think I'll keep it, but, oh, Island, thank goodness. Island is exactly what we wanted to see with this hand. Possible that we have some trouble resolving stuff is the downside of Islands, but at least we aren't at like 11 life right now. Deep analysis. Boom. Strong. Mucho card advantage. We're about to also play a pretty good card advantage 4 mana spell though. I think I've got 17 minutes of power remaining here, so I should go grab a charging cord. I'm going to do that right now. Hopefully the opponent is not left waiting for too long, probably be under a minute. Okay, and we are back. Oh, Swamp. Looks like our round 3 opponent is also doing Storm. Huh. I mean, you don't expect Storm to have as many counter spells as more controlling decks, like maybe blue-white or blue-red. They pass with deep analysis, but it could just be because they don't want to discard. Clearly, if they don't have counters, we just want to slam Hermit and go to town. If they do, we want to Imp. They've got a lot of mana, full grip, deep analysis in the yard. I don't think we can afford to wait a bunch of turns in fear of counter magic against Storm. I think we've just got to hope. And we do have another strong threat at 7. It resolves. The question of paying Echo or not is complicated somewhat by the Death Reap ritual. But since it does essentially add 5 hasty damage, I expect that I will be paying for the Echo. Cycle from the opponent. I think we'll likely prove a turn or two too slow, but sometimes Storm just fizzles. I like that they're playing Scrivener here, getting back, frankly, nothing that impressive. But who's to say how many more turns we will get? Okay. Hopefully they just trade for a squirrel. Nope. Might just chuck this forest to Putrid Imp next turn. So they've got High Tide. Seems like they're likely pretty favored to get there. But if you have High Tide in hand, I don't think you would play Scrivener. Huh, that's an interesting attack. Can't really double block, but I'm happy to chump. Means they need one more Tendrils. If Tendrils is their kill, and we draw a card from the ritual at the end of their turn. I totally did not remember that card was in the format. Yes. Sweet. Oh. They do have Counterspell up. So we're going to play Kavu. If they counter it, we can Nightmare Squirrel into Kavu. Just cycling tethers. Save some 2 damage. They go to 5. So we already have the Death Reap trigger. Turning a squirrel into an imp is a downgrade in damage. I'm just going to play this out and leave it hanging around the battlefield. This is pretty much the do or die turn for them. Notably, if they... Right, we knew about the tethers because they returned it with Scrivener. If they had instead cast Counterspell on Kavu, I think they would take 2 more, be it 3, and not be able to flashback the analysis. Most obvious block in my life. Well, there actually is an argument to not block. But I feel like blocking is much better. Especially with the Edict in hand. I think blocking is the way to go. Now, the nice thing here is they don't have a Nightscape Familiar yet. And it certainly is a lot harder to go off in this format when you don't have a Familiar in play. Ooh. They need only a Storm of 7 for the Brain Freeze kill. So if they've got Brain Freeze in hand, that will probably be the game. Tendrils is a little more involved. Island from hand. Oh, they're 1 off of threshold, right? That's a reason why trading the Kavu could be bad. I have a second Cabal Ritual. But if they just cast every card in their hand, then Tendrils S, they don't have enough Storm. They need another draw spell. And not to have any lands. Scrivener can get back tethers if they want to draw. Oop, just ritual for mana. Scrivener's is +2 storm for a net cost of only 3. Oh, alright. So they get to see 7 out of 19 cards. High Tide. Familiar. Swamp. Fissure. Well, they can fissure away a lot of our board. But I don't think, well, play High Tide, play Brainstorm, play Familiar, play Fissure, 10, 11, maybe 12 permanents. All our squirrels, Nightmare, and like all of our lands. We should be able to discard Hermit hand size. We don't really have anything to sack to Nightmare. I feel like they probably got there. But storming out is a very real, not storming, timing out is a very real outcome for Storm. So we're going to keep fighting until it is actually over. That and the fact that we theoretically could come back. That gives them a 5 damage turn, 4 turns. And we have no permanents. The out here is to discard Deranged Hermit to hand size and top deck Animate Dead. It's a pretty sweet turn. I wonder if they want to Fissure their own Scrivener. Get back a Gush or something. They've got to have a Storm card. Well, you could try to go for Storm and only end up with Fissure plus Mind's Desire. But I suspect they've got Tendrils or Brain Freeze, in which case fissuring a Scrivener and getting Gush is not bad. Okay. Yeah. I wonder if they bounced the Death Reap Ritual. It is worth a card. And they're bouncing all of our permanents but 1. Oh, they just left a hermit. That's not unreasonable. We can probably chump Scrivener, though. Wait, they know there's a Nightmare in our hand. Alright, we'll play Taiga. Discard top land, swamp, worm, ritual, and I think just cougar too. Maybe we don't chump here. Just take 5, untap edict, untap dread a nightmare. Ah. They're not infinite with Palinchron, but it certainly increases their clock substantially. Its toughness is 1 too high to get FTK'd, so we're probably just getting back Worm. They were at 1 more life. They could flash back Deep Analysis and die. Alright, this is actually an important decision point. If we think we can win by not blocking, then we should do that. But if we can't, then we should play to our outs by chumping and hoping for the 1 in 23 to get Animate Dead. Ah, yes. Thank you for the heads up, Half-Truth. I should go change the game from Eternal back to Magic. I'll fix that at the end of this game. So if we don't block, it's 15. Edict them. I'm guessing that they sack Familiar, maybe Scrivener. But anyway, untap, attack us for at least 6 in the air, puts us to 9. We Nightmare, get a Worm. I think it doesn't work. So I'm going to go for the 1 in 23. This is also better if we have Animate Dead as the second card down, so it's more like 2 in 23. Two in 23, of course, not being a large probability. Cycle Tethers. Believe the tap is optional. Indeed. Is that the second or third Tethers we've seen from their deck? Just 2. They certainly look to have a pretty sweet one. Alright, so we are not straight up dead. we do need to top deck Solar Blast and go face with it now to have a chance. I got 0 cards in library. But that is a temporary state of what? Wait, I'm very confused. Did they only have 2 when they brainstormed? Okay. I guess that is also an out. So Adel comes in. Mantis seems pretty bad. Yeah, apparently they had 2. When they cast Brainstorm, I assume they had, 3 left. Otherwise, it's not a very advisable play. I think the only other card we could consider is Circular Logic. We don't have that many sources for logic, of course, but we won't need it until later on. Not sure if it's better than any of these, though, in that they can actually apply pressure. Death Reap might not be great. We drew, I think 2 cards was hit last game. Going to try this. There are definitely spots where a correctly placed counterspell can mess Storm up pretty good. Huh. Well, we can cycle Cave. We only need 1 more green for Elder, so I believe this is a keep. Oh. Interesting. If you play more turn 1 and Mongrel turn 2, we're less likely to hit Elder on 3. Search. Alright. Familiar. Alright, we picked up a Kavu, which is good. Huh. Now I wish we'd played more, but Didn't know we'd be having an animate dead at the time. Pretty early brainstorm. I assume it's being cast because they didn't have a third land in hand. Also, I guess they're under 9.5 minutes, and they need to win 2 games, which, if they're only storm cards, actually are Fissure and Mind's Desire. Alright, top. The Mana Prism eventually gives us the second green for Elder, but next turn might just be Animate Dead on Predatory Night Stalker, or on FTK, I suppose, since they don't have regen mana. Okay, so we can Kavu without any Animate Dead shenanigans, and that is what we'll do. Also, that's the second green. Next turn, we can Prism, discard Night Stalker, Animate Dead if we want to. Yeah, if there's something worth Night Stalkering. Overall, I think I like the look of the game right now. Alright, that is something worth Night Stalkering. But that is also a really juicy Animate Dead target. So I think we'll offer up a trade here first. Do you want to pitch anything else? I don't think there's a super compelling reason to do so this turn. Bam, bam, bam. And because of the Prism, we can pay Echo if we want to. We're 1 off of having lethal next turn. 10 on board, plus 4 cards for the Mongrel. But we can either pay for Hermit, attack them for 10. I think I'd probably opt to not pay for Echo, attack for only 6, but hold Circular Logic up with some Mongrel. Yeah, we've got enough pressure without paying for echo. Hello, MTGO. They do have 2 deep analysis in the grave, though. If we put them to 3, they can't deep analysis anymore. Yeah, I think the deep analysis is actually sufficiently compelling to do this. Discard Night Stalker and Elder or Regrowth. This Elder seems fine. I mean, it's not a very consequential decision, really. We're either going to get stormed off, probably, or win. All right, that's a strong start from them. If we hadn't paid Echo, maybe Circular Logic the Gush? Or the High Tide? We don't have that many cards in our graveyard, though. Ooh, do they have Infinite with Palancron? If they have a land drop, which I believe they do, then they should. Oh, Upheaval. Okay, that's exciting. No responses. Clearly that is what we would have Circular Logicked. But 1 turn from now, we can animate Dead Hermit again, which is pretty solid. Here, Prism. They could Brain Freeze us, but it wouldn't be lethal. Okay. We want to play Barrenmore, 100% here. But which Barrenmore? Yeah. Discard Hermit. And what else do we discard? I don't think it's going to be super important here. but I guess I'll do it like this. They could logic our animated. Mongrel also threatens to be lethal, but it's worse versus choking tethers. Okay. So we can regrowth animate dead. They're also just very unlikely to be able to just get a lethal threat in play while it can't be countered. The time is a very big problem for them. Aside from this game potentially being a very big problem for them. Yep, others. If I kept another land, we could Prism and be holding up logic right now. I think we should just play Prism anyway. It doesn't actually slow down our regrowth animate dead. Oh. Killer Whale. We could just kill that and then kill them. Woo! 6-0 with 4-color Recurring Nightmare. That was sweet. I'm going to briefly end this, go update the game category and title to be more accurate, and then we'll hop in and draft a new deck.